Wire is brought to you by Resora. Elevate your real estate marketing with Resora. Effortlessly design, manage, and automate stunning email and social campaigns with our intuitive platform built for real estate. Say goodbye to complex marketing. Get started with your free account today at Resora.com. And by Notebook LM by Google. Unlock the power of your information with Notebook LM. Upload your documents and instantly access an expert AI that answers your questions, summarizes key points, and generates insights, all based on your specific sources. Become a knowledge master with Notebook LM. Try it now at notebooklm.google.
Okay, so last week was a whirlwind in real estate tech. We've got robots, credit scores, even a platform to check out your potential neighbor's political leanings.
Yeah, there's a lot to cover. Every corner of the industry is changing so fast.
Well, let's jump right in. First up, robots. Researchers in Japan looked into how older adults feel about robots helping them age in place.
And they actually found a lot of support for the idea, not just in Japan either, but Ireland and Finland too.
It's pretty interesting, right? They all had different priorities, though.
Oh yeah, totally different. Like the Japanese, super into convenience, loved the idea of robots handling chores, giving them more independence.
Makes sense. So what about Ireland?
Safety was their big thing. Features that would alert family or, support personnel in case of an emergency. That's what they were interested in.
And the Finns, I bet they were all about design.
You know it. Stylish robots. Gotta have them.
Shows you how important it is to think about different values.
Totally. If we want tech to be successful, it has to be more than just functional, right?
Exactly. It has to fit into people's lives and reflect what's important to them.
Like you said, we're talking about people's homes, their lives. Tech needs to be human-centered, especially when it comes to something as personal as caring for our, aging population.
It's not about replacing human connection. It's about giving people more options, more support.
100%. Speaking of options, have you heard about Credit Expert? They're launching this new platform December 31st, and it's supposed to help more people get mortgages faster.
Not like your typical credit repair thing, right?
No, not at all. It analyzes your habits, your finances, and suggests things you can do to improve your credit score. Think of it like a credit coach.
So you could tell people who were initially rejected for a mortgage that they might actually qualify in a month.
That's the idea. Over half of those initially rejected could qualify within 30 days. That's what they're claiming anyway.
That would be incredible.
Right. It gives people more control over their financial future. It's not just about fixing past mistakes.
What do you think this will mean for agents?
Could be huge, right? Suddenly you can help clients who thought homeownership was totally out of reach.
It could totally change the process, make it smoother for both the buyer and the agent.
For sure. Makes you wonder, though, will lenders start to expect everyone to have already optimized their score?
Interesting thought. Something to keep an eye on. Now, speaking of innovative financing, let's talk about home equity agreements, HEAs.
They're getting a lot of attention. Companies like Unlock Technologies are really pushing them.
Yeah, NAR had an article on it. So you need some cash, right? Instead of a traditional loan, you work with an investor.
Exactly. They give you cash up front. Then, when you eventually sell your house, they get a portion of the appreciation.
No monthly payments?
Nope. And it's often easier to qualify. Could be great for homeowners who, are self-employed or maybe retired, or those who don't have the best credit.
Sounds almost too good to be true. What's the downside?
Well, you have to really look at the details. You are sharing some of your future profits, but for some, it might be worth it. It could open up possibilities that weren't there before.
It's all about understanding your options. And real estate professionals have to be able to explain these things to their clients, right?
Absolutely. Guide them through these new options. Speaking of guiding clients, let's talk about commercial real estate. There are some interesting things happening, especially when it comes to sustainability and making decisions based on data.
That Altus Power and CBRE solar project in New Jersey is a great example of how important sustainability is becoming.
And then you've got companies like Brookfield using AI to figure out, who's likely to be late on rent. Talk about efficiency.
Wow. It's like everything's connected, isn't it? Rising costs, the need for buildings to be eco-friendly, using data to make smart decisions. It's all pushing the industry towards using more tech.
Yeah, and fast.
But it's not all good news, right? Commercial real estate has been kind of rough in 2024 with those high interest rates and economic uncertainty.
So true. We've seen some big projects fail. A lot of people are just trying to hang on until 2025.
Survive till 25. I like that. But those who adapt, those who use technology to their advantage, they'll be the ones who come out on top.
Definitely. And speaking of navigating uncertainty, let's not forget about data security.
So important with all this tech around. Bruce Phillips, he's the Chief Information Security Officer for My Home, had a really good piece in RIS Media recently.
Oh, yeah, it was a good one. Encryption, regular reviews, building a culture of security within your business. These aren't just nice to haves anymore.
Not at all. They're essential.
The damage from a data breach, to your reputation and your client's trust, it's just too high to ignore.
It's about showing your clients you take their privacy seriously,
Right.
which is more important now than ever before.
Absolutely. And we'll definitely be talking more about data security later on. With property values being what they are, it's not surprising that home equity is a hot topic these days.
Yeah, it's like everyone's sitting on a gold mine, right? But how to actually tap into it can be tricky.
Exactly. And risky. A lot of people think about those home equity loans or HELOCs, but those usually come with high interest rates.
And the monthly payments, those can be tough.
Especially with how interest rates have been going lately. But, there are other options out there.
Okay, so what are they?
Well, that's where the whole world of fintech is really shaking things up. We're starting to see more and more innovative options pop up, and one that I'm keeping a close eye on is the home equity agreement.
HEA.
Yep. NAR had a good article about it last week. It was focused on Unlock Technologies and their HEA program. It's a pretty interesting concept.
Yeah, I read that one too. So basically, instead of taking out a traditional loan, you get this lump sum of cash up front, and then instead of paying it back with interest, you share a portion of your home's value when you eventually sell.
That's the gist of it. No monthly payments, usually easier to qualify. It could be a game changer for homeowners who might not qualify for those traditional loans, Like who?
Well, people who are self-employed, maybe retirees, or even those who don't have, perfect credit.
Okay, so it sounds amazing. I have to ask, what's the catch?
Right. It does sound almost too good to be true. Well, like any financial product, you really have to understand all the terms and conditions, all the fine print. You're basically saying, okay, I'm willing to give up some of the potential profit when I sell my house in exchange for having this cash now.
Yeah, but for some people, that might be a worthwhile trade-off.
For sure. Say they need cash now for home improvements or maybe to consolidate some debt, even to help out family, There are all sorts of possibilities.
It all comes back to individual circumstances.
Exactly. But it is encouraging to see that these new options are becoming available, It gives homeowners more flexibility and control over their finances.
More options are always good, right? And it really shows how technology is kind of leveling the playing field a bit.
Right. It's not just about big banks anymore. Fintech is giving more people a chance to access these financial tools. It's all about finding what works for you. Which, speaking of, let's zoom out a little and look at the bigger picture here. What do all these innovations really mean for the real estate industry as a whole?
Well, I think it's pretty clear that we're in the middle of a major shift. Technology isn't just making things a bit more efficient here and there. It's fundamentally changing how we buy, sell, and finance homes.
It seems like the goal with a lot of this is to make things more efficient, obviously, but also more transparent and accessible for everybody involved.
I think that's a great way to put it. More accessible.
So how do real estate professionals, agents and brokers fit into all of this? How can they use these advancements to better serve their clients?
That is the million-dollar question. It's not enough to just know a lot about properties anymore.
So what else do you need to know?
Agents really need to become tech-savvy advisors.
Tech-savvy advisors.
Exactly. They're the ones who are guiding their clients through this increasingly complex world of real estate tech.
Like, give me an example.
Okay, so think about everything we just talked about. Explaining to your client these new credit optimization strategies, walking them through these alternative financing options, even, making sure their data is secure. All of that falls on the agent now.
It sounds like you really need to stay ahead of the curve.
Absolutely. You have to be that trusted resource who knows how to navigate all of these new tools and technologies.
And that brings us back to data security, which I think after everything we've talked about is even more important now.
Absolutely. It's more critical than ever before. You know that Housing Wire article we talked about earlier, the one by Bruce Phillips, the Chief Information Security Officer at My Home?
Yeah.
Really drives home the point that in this digital age, data security is paramount. It's not just about protecting your own business. It's about safeguarding your client's personal information.
I think sometimes we forget that each transaction, every interaction we have, it all generates data, right?
Right. All kinds of data, financial records, social security numbers, property details, everything. And
Yeah.
it all needs to be protected.
So encryption, proactive review, building that culture of security, those are all must-haves now.
No question. With more and more transactions happening online, real estate professionals need to be extra vigilant. They need to be educating themselves and their clients about the potential risks and what they can do to protect themselves.
A data breach is a nightmare. No one wants to deal with that.
It can be devastating. You lose your client's trust, your reputation takes a hit. It's just bad all around. So building that culture of security, it's really about building trust, showing your clients that you take data security seriously.
Especially in a world where it seems like every day there's a new cyber attack.
Exactly. So it's not just good business, it's the ethical thing to do. Speaking of ethical, let's talk about the tech that's aiming to help our aging population.
Okay, yeah. Let's talk about those robots again.
The idea of robots helping people age in place, it's still pretty futuristic to most people, but it's a lot closer than you might think.
Remember that study we talked about before from Chiba University in Japan?
Oh yeah, the one where they looked at the social acceptance of robots in 3 different countries, Japan, Ireland, and Finland. What I thought was really interesting was how each country had different priorities.
Yeah, the Japanese were all about those convenience features.
Right. They loved the idea of robots taking care of all those daily chores, like the cooking and the cleaning.
And then in Ireland, they were really focused on safety. Right?
Yep. Especially the features that could alert family or, like we talked about before, some kind of support personnel if there is an emergency.
And how could we forget the Finns?
Yeah.
I love that they were all about the aesthetics. Stylish robots. Gotta have them.
It just goes to show you how important it is to think about all of those cultural nuances when you're designing and implementing new technologies. What works in Japan might not work in Ireland and vice versa.
It's about understanding people's needs and values and not just assuming one size fits all.
Exactly. But let's get back to those robots. Like, how can they actually help people age in place?
Well, they have the potential to do a lot, right?
Oh, yeah, a lot. Imagine robots that can help with bathing and getting dressed and even remembering to take medication.
Those are some of the things that become really challenging as people get older, especially if their mobility starts to decline.
It's true. And if those tasks can be taken care of, it might mean that someone can stay in their own home rather than having to move to an assisted living facility.
Huge difference. And it's not just about the practical stuff either, right?
So you're right, it's not. These robots can also provide companionship and, just social interaction.
Which is so important.
Yeah,
Especially as we age, that mental and emotional well-being.
absolutely. And honestly, I have to admit, when I first heard about all this, I was a little skeptical. My grandmother, she was fiercely independent. I just couldn't picture her wanting a robot in her house.
I get that. I had some reservations too.
But the more I learn about these technologies, the more I see the potential benefits.
It's about finding that balance between the technology and human connection. Like we've been talking about, these robots aren't meant to replace human caregivers. They're just there to provide more support.
To give people more options.
And as the technology keeps getting better, we can expect even more sophisticated and personalized robots.
It's exciting. Okay, so let's switch gears a bit and talk about another tech trend that's getting a lot of attention, although maybe for slightly different reasons.
I know what you're going to say. OISI.
You got it. That new real estate platform launching in New York and Florida.
It's causing quite a stir.
Yeah, they're trying to shake things up, taking on Zillow and all the other big players, but their approach is definitely unique.
It's their use of social data that's really making headlines.
Big time. They're not just giving you your typical demographics.
They're showing you the political leanings of potential neighbors.
Bold move, right. I can see why it's getting so much attention.
People are torn. Some love the transparency.
And others are really worried about privacy and, the potential for bias. It's a hot button issue for sure.
But I do think it shows that people want more information.
They want to really understand the communities they might be moving into.
It's not just about the house anymore.
It's about finding the right fit.
So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out with OISI.
Definitely. Will this kind of hyper-detailed social information become the new normal? Or will there be pushback from, consumers or even regulators? Who knows?
I guess we'll have to wait and see. It is a fascinating glimpse into how technology is shaping society, though. And it raises a lot of big questions about data privacy and how we use information to build our communities.
It's definitely a platform to watch. Will this become the norm, or will we see pushback? Only time will tell. But it does raise some really important questions about data privacy and how we use all of this information, all of this technology to shape the communities we live in. It's a lot to think about, really.
It is, but maybe for another time. For now, let's get back to something a little less controversial.
Okay, sounds good. What did you have in mind?
Well, you mentioned earlier how important it is to have a growth mindset in this industry, especially with tech changing everything so quickly.
Couldn't agree more. I think a lot of people see technology as a threat, but it's really an opportunity to work smarter, to give our clients better service, ultimately, to build a more efficient and equitable real estate industry.
I like that. But how can real estate professionals actually cultivate that growth mindset? Where do they even start?
Be curious. Stay on top of the trends. Go to industry events, read articles, blogs, listen to podcasts, even this one. And most importantly, talk to other professionals who are using tech in cool ways.
So, network. Learn from each other.
Exactly. And you don't have to become a tech expert overnight. Just take small steps. Try out new tools. See what works for you. It's all about finding that balance between human expertise and using technology to make things better.
So, human expertise plus technology equals success.
Something like that. But remember, no matter how much tech we have, we can't forget about the human element. Tech should make our work better, not replace us completely.
Well said. As we wrap up this deep dive into real estate tech, is there one key takeaway you want our listeners to remember?
Embrace change. Be curious. Stay informed. Never stop learning. The future of real estate is here, and it's driven by technology.
I love that. Embrace change. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive.
My pleasure. It's been fun.
And to our listeners, we hope you found this episode insightful and maybe even a little bit inspiring. The world of real estate tech is constantly evolving. There's so much to learn, and the possibilities are endless.
They really are.
Until next time, stay curious and keep innovating.
Hey there, thanks for tuning into The Wire. If you're enjoying the show and want to help us keep bringing you the latest in real estate, visit us at thewire.fm and click the Support the Wire button in the main navigation. Your support makes all the difference. Thank you. Now back to the show. The Wire has been brought to you by Resora. Elevate your real estate marketing with Resora. Effortlessly design, manage, and automate stunning email and social campaigns with our intuitive platform built for real estate. Say goodbye to complex marketing. Get started with your free account today at resora.com. And by Notebook LM by Google. Unlock the power of your information with Notebook LM. Upload your documents and instantly access an expert AI that answers your questions, summarizes key points, and generates insights, all based on your specific sources. Become a knowledge master with Notebook LM. Try it now at notebooklm.google.